Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, we've got another power rankings video, week 31 of our power rankings series, and the second straight week of the conference final power rankings. We're breaking down the four last teams in the playoffs right now, how they stack up, because there has been a tiny bit of movement. Just a couple of the series are closing in on being finished. We'll go to all the updates from our past couple of days and where I have these four conference final teams coming up right now. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here at the End-to-End Hockey channel. Now before we get started, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this for all of you guys, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, so it's really appreciated. So in today's video, we've got another power rankings video, week 31 of our power rankings series, and we got our second consecutive week of our conference final power rankings. So in this video, we're looking at the power rankings after the first week of the conference final. One of the series is a win away. One of the series could be a win away after tonight's game. So we'll touch on how these series have shaped up so far and who I have where in my conference final. So as usual, just top four power rankings at this point in time. So the fourth team of my power rankings for this week is a team who's still faced elimination last night, but did survive and are now down 3-1 this series, and that is the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, so far up to this point, even though they won game 4, have basically looked outclassed the entire series against the Florida Panthers. Game 1, after they took down Jersey and Washington both in 5 games in the first and second round, finished second in the Metro Division, they got the Florida Panthers, and the Hurricanes were hoping that this will be the year they go back to the Cup final for the first time in almost 19 years since they went against the Edmonton Oilers back in 2006. Since then, they had lost 3 straight conference finals in sweet fashion. That was in 09 to Pittsburgh, in 19 to Boston, and in 23 to Florida. They're hoping that this would not be the exact same case this year, and the start of it was absolutely atrocious for Carolina. They started out with a 5-2 loss to Florida, then got shut out 5-0 to Florida, and if that wasn't bad enough, those 2 games were at home, and then they went to Florida, and they had a really good first 40 minutes, and then they got destroyed 6-2, and then they finally ended the streak, ended a 15-game losing streak in the conference final by beating Florida 3-0. Got the first goal of the game, got a couple of empty netters. Anderson played fantastic after getting a night off in game 3, which was really good for them. And the Carolina Hurricanes, who were facing another sweep in the conference final, were able to end it, but still, even though they did win that last game, they barely got by the skin of their teeth. They're going back home where they haven't had very much success, but at this point, with the way Carolina's playing this series, I'm putting them as my 4th team in my power rankings. So they're one of the final 4 teams, but that's where I am putting them in the 4th spot as the last of the conference final teams. Offensively, teams looked all right. Jarvis, Svechnikov, Aho, Stankoven, and Martinook have all looked pretty good offensively. Defensively, Orlov, Nikishin, and Burns have looked pretty good defensively, and then Anderson and Kochekov for that game 3 have not looked overly great for Carolina. So they are down 3-1 in their series against Florida. They're 4th in my power rankings. 3rd in my power rankings this week is a team who opened the series up with a win, but now trail the series 2-1. And that is the Dallas Stars. The Stars, after taking down the Avalanche and the Jets in the first 2 rounds, finished 2nd in the Central Division, took the Edmonton Oilers on in the conference final, their 3rd straight conference final appearance. Started out really well. They were down 3-1 after first 40 minutes in game 1, but had a 5-goal third period that would get them a win 6-3 and take this 1-0 series lead. But since then, they've had no offense, and their defense has been atrocious. Outscored 9-1 in those next 2 games against Edmonton, were shut out 3-0 in game 2, and then lost 6-1 in game 3. So at this point, they lose tonight against Edmonton. They're down 3-1 and at risk of falling again in the conference final. So they get into the conference final consistently. That's good, but they just can't seem to get over that next hump. So at this point, it's really looking bad for Dallas to win this series. They must win today, but so far in the first 2 games, besides that 1/3 period where they outscored Edmonton 5-0, they've been really heavily outplayed in this series. And that's why they're 3rd in my power rankings. Offensively, team's still looking pretty good, like Robertson, Duchesne, Johnston, Granlund, and Rannon all look pretty good offensively. Defensively, Heiskanen, Harley, and Petrovic have looked pretty good defensively, and in net. Onger start out all right, but since then hasn't looked overly great. So Stars are down 2-1 in their series. That's why they're 3rd in my power rankings. 2nd in my power rankings, and potentially going to be on the verge of another Cup final appearance, is Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. As we talked about, they got through LA and Vegas, the top 2 teams in the Pacific, in the first 2 rounds. They got Dallas in the conference final after being 3rd in the Pacific Division. This team started out, like we talked about, had a 3-1 lead, blew it in game 1, but since then looked really good. Like even the depth score, like McDavid scored 2 goals in game 3, and that was a surprise because he hasn't been showing up a whole bunch on the goal scoring side of the puck. So like Edmonton's getting contributions from everywhere. They're looking lethal. I don't like repeat champions. I don't like repeat finalists, but it's looking like Edmonton's probably going to make it to the Cup final again. If they win today, that might just be the nail in the coffin of this series. Edmonton's looking great. Besides that one period where they're outscored 5-0, they've outscored the Stars 12-2. That defense is playing great. The offense is looking good. The Stars subdued the Dallas Stars power play, and they're looking really good. So at this point, the Edmonton Oilers are looking really good. That's why they're second in my power rankings, and they're looking like they might win the Western Conference Final again and be the best team in the West for the second consecutive year. Offensively, team's looking pretty good. McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins are having himself a series. Kane, Podkolzin all looking really good offensively. Defensively, Bouchard, Stetcher, Nurse all looking pretty good defensively. And in net, Skinner has looked great, and at this point, even if Picard's healthy, I don't know if he's going to be able to get back to net. So all in all, solid stuff there from Edmonton. They're second in my power rankings, and a top team in my power rankings is maybe the most dominant team so far in the conference final. That's saying something given how dominant Edmonton's been, and that's the Florida Panthers, like we just talked about. They were able to beat up the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Toronto Maple Leafs, the top 2 teams in the Atlantic Division in the first 2 rounds. They were 3rd in the Atlantic in the regular season. This team went through both those teams, outwinning them 8-4 in those 2. So they had a couple of games, but man, if they look dominant in the Eastern Conference Final. This team is looking scary. Like we said, game 1, 5-2 win. Game 2, 5-0 win. Game 3, 6-2 win with a 5-goal third period. So at that point, after the first 3 games, they were outscoring Carolina 16-4. Like, that is absurd. Bobrovsky's playing well, the defense is doing well, and the offense was clicking. Now, of course, they did wind up losing in game 4, so the sweep possibility is not available for them at this point, but still, there's a very likely chance that they'll be winning it on Wednesday in Carolina. So Florida's looking really good. There's a very likely chance they'll win the Eastern Conference for a 3rd consecutive year. It'll stay in the state of Florida for the 6th consecutive year, given how long Tampa was going on, getting to Cup Finals. So, I mean, at this point, you shouldn't be calling it the Eastern Conference now. You should be calling it the Florida Conference, because the Bolts and the Panthers have been the most dominant teams in the Eastern Conference over the past 5 years. So at this point, Panthers looking really good, and even though they did get shut out and lost 3-0 in game 4, they're still looking like a lethal team. At this point, they're probably going to be coming out firing after being shut out in game 4. So at this point, Panthers on the verge of yet another Cup final appearance. They're looking really good offensively, teams clicking. Barkov, Marchand, Lundell, Louis Dorain, and Reinhart before he got injured all looked really good offensively. Defensively, Mikkola, Forsling, and Jones have all looked really good defensively. And in net, Bobrovsky looking great again. So all in all, Panthers still 1 win away from the Cup final, and that is why they are my top team in the power rankings. So definitely at this point, those are my power rankings as it is right now. Just to recap, Florida's 1, Edmonton's 2, Dallas is 3, Carolina is 4. So those are my conference final power rankings as it is right now, as of Tuesday. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Do you agree with me? Are those really accurate conference final standings? Would you disagree with me? And if so, what are your conference final power rankings as it is right now? Definitely your thoughts on all of that down in the comment section below. That's all I'm going to talk for today. Remember to like this video, and for the other to subscribe below. Thank you for all of your support. I would never be able to do this without you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to comment. Also a blog, talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. The link to that down in the description below. Can't wait to see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.